So we want to make sure that we put screws into the subfloor that goes into the floor joist. So you'll see here, right down here, we have screws, so about 2 screws in every board all the way along, because the nails just are never good enough, because eventually they let go and squeak. The screws grab it, pull it down, and make it sturdy. You'll notice there are no more squeaks anymore, which is awesome, and that's how you do that. So it's now ready to put your plywood on and then screw that down. Make sure though it actually is flooring screws. Don't use drywall screws or that. Make sure it's specifically for floors. Because what happens is if you put whatever down and when you put the mortar on, the mortar will actually eat the screws and eventually rust them out real quick. So make sure you buy the proper screws. There's 2 ways to do it. One is by hand. So get your good old screw gun of choice and then use hand screws. So you would buy them by bulk or whatever at the local hardware store, and one by one put those screws into the board. And if you've ever done that before, you know that it's back-breaking and time-consuming. Now obviously I used to do it all the time when I first started, but eventually you get to the point where, like, if you have a big open area or you've just done it enough, you want to go with the big guns. So let me show you that. So this is called a Quik Drive. Now there are different versions of it, but this is one of my favorites for sure. It's the Simpson Strong Tie, the Quik Drive brand. So you get this gun, not that cheap, but well worth it. And then you buy a box of screws. The screws here come in this strip form here. So you'll see that on the one end, it's got like a point, so that's like the arrow. And then there is the tail. So that's how you know which way it goes into the gun. So you put it in, just goes click, and then click again. Now you know it's ready and set, and then you can start screwing. If you've ever tried to do it by hand, you'll know that putting in those 12 screws would have taken you 10 times as long. It's more back-breaking. It just wears you out. That being said, buying that tool is obviously a big step up. So if you want to go to that point, you need to make it worthwhile if you're doing a large kitchen area or you're going to be doing this more times. So that's all there is to it. When you put the screws in, make sure you're at least every 4 inches along the outside, and then every 6 on the inside. And if you want to get out a tape measure and mark and do lines, that's fine too. Too much is always okay, but not enough. That's where you want to make sure you don't do. So this is obviously more than 4 inches apart, but again, too many is fine, just not enough. Then eventually it could lift, so put it down nice and solid and you'll be good and happy.